Welcome to Satsang. Starting as always with one of the questions that's come in advance, and then we'll open it up to any questions that anyone here has. Is there any truth to the idea that whatever you are focused on at the moment of death indicates and determines your next incarnation? Absolutely. Where our mind is when we leave the body is absolutely said to indicate and determine what our next birth is going to be. The dilemma with that is that a lot of times people think they can sort of outsmart the system. Like, I won't meditate, I won't pray, I won't be a peaceful, loving person. I'll live with lies and deceit and greed and lust and all of that. But in my last moment, I will just chant God's name in such a way that my next birth is going to be blissful, or that I attain liberation. And the problem is it doesn't work. If you could make it happen, you'd be in luck. There's actually a kind of funny story about this of a man who really was quite greedy and quite focused on material things, but whose son was named Narayan, and he's lying on his deathbed. And all of his other family members and sons are there, and all the guy can think about is his business. Because as I said, he was really a materialistic, kind of money-focused sort of guy, not a spiritual guy. But as he's about to die, he looks around him, and he sees all of his other family members except his son Narayan. And so he says, Narayan, 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 and dies. And because he had repeated the name of God at that time, worried about, who was running the shop, but because the son happened to be named after a name of God, he attained liberation. But it's a story that's shared as kind of the one time that anybody has sort of outsmarted the system. Because it doesn't happen. That which you think about at your last moment of life, you think about it because it's what you think about during the rest of your life. You don't change who you are as you die. If in your life you've been full of anger, full of greed, full of fear, full of grabbing or pushing, that's exactly how you're going to be at the moment of death. But if throughout your life, like Gandhi gets shot, and instead of saying the most natural thing like, oh my God, how dare you? One of my own people, how dare you? How could this happen? Or oh my God, this isn't fair. I'm such a good person, this shock, this anger. But because he had so focused on God, even having been ambushed and assassinated, his last words are, "Hate on, hate on." So how you spend your life determines where your mind is going to be at the moment of your death. So yes, the moment of your death determines the next birth, but it doesn't exist in a vacuum. Your next mind now, since it's with you for a while. Get it anchored spiritually now. Get it anchored in truth, in love, now. Because it's going with you. It's going with you into the next birth. So at some point, you're going to have to work with it. Why not now? And then you don't even have to worry about the last moment of life, because you know it's going to be exactly what all the other moments of your life have been. A good way to test it, if you wonder kind of where you stand, is look at your dreams. Or look at the state of your mind as you are drifting off to sleep or as you are waking up in the morning. In that I'm conscious, like I know I'm awake, I know what I'm thinking. But I'm not yet actually consciously producing thoughts. I'm still in that subconscious state, just drifting off to sleep or just waking up. Just notice the quality of your mind at those times. This is why it's so helpful, as you go to sleep at night, to just let mantras go through your head. Just chant mantras in your sleep. I mean, I know a lot of people who, put them on headphones or have them playing by something next to the bed, but either way, or just chant it so that it goes deeply into your subconscious. And then the moment you notice you're awake in the morning, before the mind starts doing its thing, just start chanting the mantra. To get that as deep as you can into the subconscious. That'll then percolate through you in a really beautiful way, and it'll stay with you until the moment of death. Other questions? Yes.
Thank you. Sorry for my question.
Don't be sorry for it.
And for my English.
Nothing to be sorry for. It's wonderful.
So, I think that the universe...
But if you can speak just a little louder, yeah.
The universe is so big. There are a lot of planets, a lot of stars, and galaxy. So the idea of that there is a God that thinks look at specifically to us and and is interested in what we are doing is strange for me. So yeah, I believe in the universal energy and I like the spiritual teaching, but yes, the idea of God is strange for that. Yeah, because the universe is so big, there are a lot of things. So. Yeah.
Beautiful. So with a universe that's so big, so many planets and stars and galaxies and solar systems, how is it really interested in us? How is it really caring about us? It cares about you, whether we say the divine universe, meaning that power of the universe, not the actual stars or planets or rays of light from the sun, but that infinite power of the divine universe. Or we say God, or we say the supreme reality, sort of whatever term we use for it. I don't think that it is interested in the little nitty-gritty things of your life. Like, I don't actually think that God is worried whether you stay on your diet or you don't stay on your diet, or you got to the gym or you didn't, or you get a raise or you didn't, or you buy a new house or you didn't. I don't think that the divine has any interest or any attachment to that whatsoever. I think those are all aspects of what we call Leela, which is the divine play. So you set a play in motion, and the characters take on lives of their own, and we each get very into our role, and we play it fully, and that's great. But I think that the universe is only interested in really the core journey, which is, are you coming back home? Are you returning to the self, to the truth of who you are? Are you remembering yourself? Are you unfolding into yourself? Are you peeling back layers of ignorance? Are you getting closer and closer to the truth of who you are? So I think it cares on that level. I think that's what matters. Like if you were, imagine that you are a gardener and you plant a beautiful garden. Well, you're not necessarily going to worry about every single ant or worm or a butterfly. You might notice it, you might smile, but you're not going to get really involved or care too much. Ants are normal, butterflies are normal, worms are normal. You're not going to pay that much attention. But what you do care about is, are they blossoming? Are they growing? That's what's going to matter to you. Are the flowers that you've planted actually blossoming? Are they opening their petals to the sun? Are fruit trees growing and giving fruit? That's going to matter to you. Every tiny little, a caterpillar walked up this tree, or, an ant is crawling over here, or that ant stole this ant's piece of bread. You're not going to care. As long as it doesn't impact the growth of that which you do care about. You understand, the rest is just kind of part of the drama of a garden. In the same way, I don't think that God gets very involved in the micromanagement of our lives. But I do think that God is very much involved. Should we open our hearts to the divine? Because of course we have total free will to say, not this life. Okay. But when we open our hearts to God, I think that God is very much, God is always present, but I think God is very much engaged in, supportive of your actual flow, your actual unfolding and your growth, and your coming home and your truth. But not the little nitty-gritty details of which college do you decide to go to, or which city are you going to live in, or which car are you going to buy, or which job are you going to take. I don't think it matters. As long as you can use every one of those opportunities as a way of growing, as a way of coming back home, a way of coming into truth. That's the part that the universe cares about. And whether it's us here on Earth, whether it's some other type of creature on some other planet, I mean, I certainly think there's intelligent life elsewhere. But the key point about humans, which isn't true as far as we know for other species on Earth, is that we are actually able to be conscious of ourselves, which means that we are able to have that unfolding. Because we're able to look at ourselves and say, I am not my anger. I am not my lust. I'm not my greed. I'm not my depression. I am divine. I am one with the universe. We're able to look and to see and to be separate from my anger, my fear. Means I am not anger, I am not fear. If it's mine, I'm not it. My sorry, I'm not my sorry. My depression, I am not the depression. My drama, my history, it's not me. And humans, we believe, as far as species on Earth, are the only ones who are actually able to have that consciousness, which means we're the only ones able to drop into truth. So that's why I think the universe cares. Good. Yes.
I have two questions. First is that, can you make me feel God without practicing years of meditation? And second is that I feel that I do not have any purpose and motive in this life. So what should be that one particular thought that I should continuously focus on in 24 hours? Thank you.
So let's take your second question first, and then we'll come to your first question. I don't feel like I have any purpose or motivation in life. What's the one thing I should focus on? Focus on being an instrument in God's hands. Focus on bringing as much to others as you can. If you have no personal motivation, let the motivation for your life to be an instrument for others. I mean, when you think about God, what are the characteristics of the divine? Compassionate, caring, loving, generous, right? If we all threw out adjectives, if I say, all right, describe God in whatever words you can, we're going to talk about grace and love and generosity and caring. Well, if we are channels for the divine here on earth, instruments of God on earth, that's what we are bringing. Love, compassion, caring to others. So just focus on that. And what you'll notice is two things. Number one, it gives meaning to your life. But number two is you actually find yourself much happier. It's a great little known secret. Could call it a happiness hack in today's language. That we actually are happier the more we do for others than we are the more we do for ourselves. Actually putting others ahead of us makes us happier. Most of us think, I have to put myself first, because if I don't, nobody else will think of me and then I won't be happy. But what all of the research, the scientific, psychological research bears out, is exactly what our sages and rishis and yogis have told us for thousands of years. Serve others, and you will find happiness in yourself. So let that become your North Star. Every day when you wake up, just recommit yourself to being a transmitter of love, of peace, of caring, of service for all. And it's going to appear in all sorts of different ways. Somebody may need something to eat. Somebody might need a shoulder to cry on. Somebody might need a hand held while they walk across the street. Somebody may need something else. Whatever it is. Just let your mantra be yes. How can I help? And just live like that. Give it 3 months. And just see how your life changes. And then in terms of experiencing God without doing any sadhana, the only way is love. The only way is love. If you can really love any aspect of the divine creation, a person, a tree, an animal, a sunset, it will bring you into love of God. If you can you'll experience God. Good, beautiful. Any other questions? Yes, in the back.
Hi, Namaste. I want to understand the importance of companionship and what do you do if you want companionship but you're also very scared of companionship. So, I mean, if you've had horrible experiences, so how do you... Thank you.
Sure. The importance of companionship and what to do if previous companions have been horrible experiences. So what we know is that as human beings, we need connection. We need deep connection. We are not meant to be isolated. Now, in our spiritual tradition, we have a whole parampara, a whole tradition of sannyas. Monks, nuns, monastics, whether in ashrams, whether in the caves. Not only living lives of celibacy and therefore no companion on that level, but also lives in many cases that are also alone. In caves, in the jungles, as hermits. That is the appropriate path and a successful path only for those who are able to have a deep connection with the divine. That's the only way it works. That's where you get that, what Pujya Sadhviji refers to as that masti, that ecstasy that comes from being just one with God. So even in those cases, there is the connection. It's just a connection on a level where it's not a tangible being, but it's the divine. It's the highest form of connection. When we chant Sabse Unchi Prem Sagai, the highest form of love is love for God, the highest form of connection is connection with God. So if you don't have a human companion, don't worry, there's certainly no rule that you need that. But you need to feel connected in your life. Now, that doesn't have to come from one companion. It doesn't have to be one husband or one wife or one boyfriend or one girlfriend or even one best friend in a situation. It can come through a connection with God. It can come through a connection with humanity. So there's lots and lots and lots of examples in the non-religious literature and non-religious history and society of people who dedicate their lives to service, to a purpose, for whom that becomes their life's meaning, their life's mission, their life's passion. And they may not have a spouse, they may not have children, they may not have a best friend, and that's fine because their connection is with the meaning that they're getting in the service that they're doing, even if they're not religious people. So even if they wouldn't talk about it as seva or as God, there's such a connection to what they are doing, whether it's through some kind of service, whether it's through art, whether it's through music. And there are stories of musicians, of painters, for whom that is their life's connection. But there needs to be a connection. And so if you've had horrible experiences with a companion in the past, what I would say is it's really important for each of us, when we talk about dharma, we've all got different dharmas. Some have the dharma to be in what we call grihasthashram, which is, your householder life. To have a spouse, to have a companion on that level. Just because you've had a horrible experience in the past doesn't mean that the institution itself is set up to cause misery. You may have a much better experience next time. But it may also be a signal to you that that's not your dharma. I know a lot of people who thought it was, they got into it, had such an experience that they realized that is not my dharma. It's not just about finding a better right person. It's about realizing that's not my dharma. And shifting their focus. But that's something you're going to have to figure out from within you. Of how full, how connected you are able to feel without that companion. Are you able to develop that connection with the divine, with the creator, with creation, with humanity, with nature? Because you need to be connected. But no, it doesn't have to be one companion. And yet that is the way that works out for the vast majority of people. So if you feel like that might be your dharma, open your heart and have courage to let another person in, even though somebody previously hurt you or betrayed you or created a horrible situation. If the reason you're not having a companion is due to fear or resentment or a closed heart, then it's definitely not the right decision. Because those of us who choose the, you could say, companionless lives, It's only right if you can do it with a fully open heart, fully grounded and anchored in knowing that you are connected in a different way. If it's your fear that's keeping you from it, then it means you need to open your heart. Because none of us is meant to move through our life with a closed heart and fear. Wonderful. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your evening. A very happy Easter to anybody here celebrating Easter today. And I look so forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Be sure to join us during the day here for our free yoga classes in the morning and the afternoon. We have a beautiful sacred fire ceremony in the morning as well. There's schedules of all the daily activities up in the reception as you go through, and it's all open to everybody. So whether you're staying here at the ashram or not, feel free to join us for all of that. And of course, be sure to join us for the sacred Ganga Arati just before Satsang. So much love.